Hi there, Laura Wilson from Gold Star Work here. Today we're on day 30 of building a daily art habit. So that means we're at the end of this art series and I have painted every day for 30 days. Now my main goal for doing this series was to get me back into painting because I hadn't painted hardly at all for the last 3 months and I wanted to get back into regular painting and get excited about painting again. And I can say that yes, I have achieved that goal. The more that I came up to paint, the more I wanted to paint and the more excited I became about the paintings I was doing, so that was really great. I've had some great successes and I've had a few failures along the way, as you've seen, and I want to talk a bit about the pros and cons of what I have been doing. But I don't want to just sit here and talk to you, so I'll finish off those little canvases that I was doing yesterday and revealing those words and show you if that works or not, while I talk about my successes and my failures and what I thought was good about it and what I thought wasn't so good about doing this. So let's get going. Remember this one from yesterday where I put the words on? I'm going to try and see if I can reveal those words today. I'm just using water and I'm going to soak that paper and then hopefully we'll be able to reveal some words, or it might just peel all the paint off. I'm not actually sure if it's going to work, so we'll wait and see. So today being day 30, there will be some things that are really positive that have come out of this. One being that yes, I have built my daily art habit. I'm excited to come back into the studio every day and get going on what I want to do. There has been some things that have even exceeded my expectations, and that is being with the study that I have been doing, and it could just be that my brain was ready to accept what I've been learning, or the way that the people I've been listening to explain things. I suddenly really started to click in my head about a lot of the composition things, because there's so much to learn and it's hard to know how to put it all together, and suddenly things started to click in my head and I started to actually get a better understanding, I felt. So the learning aspect has exceeded my expectations and I've really enjoyed that, and I've found that to be one of the most exciting things about this whole series, is suddenly feeling like I was progressing in my art, because we all like to feel like we're getting better. So that was a really important aspect for me. So the idea is you peel up the layers of paper and reveal what's underneath. I'm not sure if there'll be anything underneath. And one of the other things that has been interesting that might come out of it is actually doing those daily painting studies. Because when I first sort of was looking into making a daily habit of painting, there was quite a few daily painting tutorials. One's about actual go and do a daily one painting every day, and that isn't really what I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to make a painting every day, so that wasn't really my goal. My goal was to make sure that I was coming to paint every day. And I thought, oh, it's quite restricting because it takes me a couple of hours to do a painting, even a little one, to my satisfaction, sometimes longer. You could see that none of the paintings that I did were particularly big, and many of them took several sessions over different days to do. So I didn't really see being able to spend the time and really being able to do that very successfully. But then when I thought about it, I thought, well, if I think of it differently, instead of trying to do a painting every day, I could just try and do an exercise every day and practice what I'd been learning, or practice what I felt I needed more practice on for my actual bigger works. And then after I'd done that and made a time limit, my half-hour time limit, I decided after that then I can go and do whatever project work I wanted to do. And that could be a really valuable exercise, I think. So I'm going to give that a go. So that came out of this whole thing that I wasn't expecting. And after listening to all the motivational people and various ones on, why we paint and what's the reason why we paint, about it's us communicating with others, so we need to be showing our work and actually communicating with others. We don't paint to have more paintings in the garage. And I thought that was a really interesting comment. It struck a chord, and I thought, yeah, I need to get on and get those art show forms in, because honestly, if I hadn't have been doing this and I hadn't have been motivated by those words, I don't know that I would have got those forms in time. I don't think I would have actually done it. And then 6 months down the track, I probably would have been kicking myself and thinking, oh, I wish I had have actually got around to putting those forms in. So I was really glad about that. It was a really positive side effect that I wasn't really expecting, but definitely was something good that came out of it. I feel like the words are showing up, but as I take more paper off, they're coming off again. So I feel like I can't actually get the paper off properly without taking the words off as well. It could be quite patchy, I think. Now, some of the disadvantages that I found is that I didn't work in the way that I would normally work. So because I was filming it and I didn't want to bore you with the same paintings over and over, normally I would work more in a series, and I would say, okay, if I was doing the fruit series, I'd say, okay, I'm doing the fruit series, I will practice painting those apples in different lights and different ways until I feel really comfortable with them, and make a whole lot of small little paintings that are still perfectly good paintings until I get to where I feel the painting is at a point where I can do a bigger work that will be kind of the climax of what I've been doing. And I haven't been doing that because I didn't want to spend the whole month painting apples and you would be like too bored to watch it. So I haven't been painting in a way that I normally would. I've realised that these words are upside down. I've put them up the wrong way. I did say when I was putting them on yesterday it was quite difficult with the writing all backwards sometimes to figure out which way up that was supposed to go. So that was a disadvantage in the way I normally work. Because normally I would have finished that leaf painting at the time where I was excited about it, and I probably would have carried on and done other ones because I wanted to do a series of that, but I stopped and did something else because I didn't want to bore you with more of the same thing. I did do lots of fruit studies, but I did different fruits instead of doing the same one until I felt really comfortable with it. So that isn't normally the way I work. The other disadvantage was how much time I had to spend on the computer. So I was spending up to 6 hours a day editing and uploading things and writing the blog and sharing it all, and it just took a really long time, and other things that I normally do on the computer have been neglected. I've got things on my website that need addressing that I haven't done. I haven't put anything on my Etsy shop for ages, and I haven't been doing my print-on-demand sites or anything, so none of that stuff has been done because I just haven't had the time. Putting a video out every day has been my focus, and it's taken a really long time. And although I'm glad I did it, I'm also glad that I can now get on with other things. I don't have to spend that much time doing that kind of thing. I'll still probably spend just as long on the computer, but I'll feel like I'm achieving a broader variety of things because every day I was just doing the same thing over and over, trying to get it all done. So I will be glad not to be editing and writing a blog every single day. I still enjoy doing the YouTube videos, and I will be carrying on with those, but doing them every day and doing a blog every day is just a bit too much. So I can't actually get all the paper off, I don't think, without the words all coming off. I may be able to get a bit more paper off, but as I rub it, the words are coming off as well. I'll do this one too, but I'm not very hopeful that this is going to work that well. I'm going to have to experiment a bit more, or maybe forget about doing the words. So this one's done the same thing, and I can't actually get all that white paper off without all the words coming off, I don't think. So it was a bit disappointing. Obviously not doing something quite right there, but could be the type of printer that we've got. I could just get as much off as I can and then possibly glaze over the top of it or something to just blend it all in. Luckily it doesn't matter if not all the words are showing for what I wanted. And I haven't even decided if this is something I want to do on my painting anyway. So I was watching something this morning that I was actually watching Stefan Bowen again, and he was talking about lighting in the studio, and what he was saying really helped. Well, I hope it's going to help, because been having trouble lately with my paintings getting too dark, and they'll look really good in my studio, and then I'll take them home and the lighting won't be as bright, and I'll think, oh, where did all the colour go and where did all the light go? They're way darker than I thought they were. And apparently having too bright a studio is not a good thing. You don't want tons and tons of light in your studio, and I've always thought you need plenty of light to paint in. And I know when you paint outside you want shade on your canvas because otherwise your pictures all turn out dark, but I hadn't really connected that up with what was happening in my studio, because I do have my easel in the middle of the room so it doesn't get any direct sun while I'm working. But I hadn't really connected the fact that my paintings kept coming out too dark with the fact that I had lots of light coming in the room. And natural light is best, and as I've been filming, I've had a light shining on my canvas because otherwise it doesn't show up very well on the camera. And I think that has been my problem because it is a daylight bulb. He said if you're using artificial light, you should only use light coming from overhead, and mine's sort of coming from the side and a bit below. And the light shouldn't be too bright. So that was an interesting little tidbit that I discovered today, which might help a lot with the problems that I've been having lately. So I'll try to not put that light on if I can when I'm filming, because it's mucking up my tones. I'm going to leave that there now. So for my daily painting exercise today, I'm going to paint this little acorn that I found on my way over to my studio. It's autumn here, so the acorns are falling off the big oak tree outside our house. So I've had a bit of a rethink of what I want to use for my daily painting exercises, and I'm just using a piece of canvas paper, which is the stuff here. It's just an A4 sheet, and I've taped it onto some cardboard just to stop it moving around. And I've drawn up these squares, which is the size I do for my cards. And I'm not sure if this is going to be big enough, but my thinking is that if I do any that I actually like, I could use them for cards as well. So then they feel like they have a bit more of a purpose than just an exercise. But my idea isn't to try and make them be good enough for cards. It would still be for the practice and the exercise, but if some of them turn out really nice, then I can still use them for something. And instead of using a whole lot of little canvases, if I'm going to do one every day, I'd use up a lot of canvases in a big hurry. So I'm thinking this might be the best way to do a daily painting exercise. There's my little acorn done for my daily painting today. So here's all the paintings that I have done over the last 30 days. So I've been quite busy. I haven't done 30 paintings because I haven't been doing a painting a day, as I talked about before. And I thought I'd just go through and talk about some of them. First off, my city landscapes. I was pleased to get this one finished because I'd had this one done for a really long time and never got around to doing that one. But looking at them now, I'm not ready to go on to a bigger one. I'm not even sure if I'm going to go on to a bigger one. This is one that I'll be putting in my file as a think about for the future. And if I did do a bigger one, I think it would be more this style here that I prefer. This one here where I was finishing off. Normally I would have just carried on and finishing all these ones as well, but because I was filming and I didn't want to bore you with the same thing over and over, I only did this one. I will be finishing these other ones though and making some nice greeting cards out of those. This one here was turning out really nicely. I've still got some work to do on this one. I want to knock back this white here a little bit with a bit of glaze because it's competing a bit with my leaf. And I want to work on my leaf a bit more. I think it needs to be a bit more rounded. It looks a bit like a maple leaf instead of an oak leaf like the other ones. And I want to check my composition a bit and see if I've got the light falling in the right places to lead your eye around the painting. So that one's still got some work to do, but I'm really happy with that, the way that's working out. And I will be doing some more on this series in the future. Now this one here I will not be keeping. It was one of my disasters. Not all of my paintings turned out well. And this one here was an improvement on it. It's still not really great, but it was early on in the piece and I was glad to be able to use my art books and improve what I'd done. I enjoyed going to the beach and doing these ones. It was a lot of fun and it was a good chance to get out and about with the family as well as doing my painting. So I'd like to do more on location type painting like that in the future. My little bumblebee was a fun little project and I enjoyed doing that. But it was a very safe one. I've done them before. It wasn't anything truly amazing about it for me. But I enjoyed it and it's a cute little painting. This one that I did, taking a photo from the beach and using my memory from the beach, I enjoyed doing this one. I practiced a bit of my composition things that I had been learning about light and having a focus of interest and not using the photo exactly. All things that I knew, but I've got to understand on a better level, I think. So that one was quite good. This one here is the background. Normally I would have carried on and done the flowers on there, but because I'd recently taped one, this one here of the flowers, I didn't carry on with this one because I'd already had a video on it. But now I'm glad that I didn't carry on and finish this one, because after the things I've been learning about doing a centre of interest, with this one and with a lot of my flower paintings, the foreground flowers have all been in focus, like when you take a photo of something. And I haven't really focused in on one area and blurred out the others more. So I think I'll experiment with that idea with my other paintings. My Angela Anderson inspired painting, I had fun doing this one, and I did try and make more of a centre of interest in this one than what Angela had done, just to see how it would turn out. And I really like that one close up. It's got lots of interesting paintwork going on, and from a distance it's got a nice feel of distance to it. Now my still lifes are something quite new for me. I don't really do a lot of still lifes, so that was a new skill for me, setting them up and painting them. And this is where I discovered that I was having trouble with my tones. They were all going quite dark. And I think they were, like the backgrounds and things are very dark in these ones. And particularly the grapes. When I took the grapes home, in the studio they looked really colourful and bright, but when I took them home, all the colour had washed out. And I actually came back the next day and put a bit more bright colour in just these ones here. So I think my lighting is a bit off in the studio because of the filming and having the extra lights on so you can see why I'm filming. I either need to remember to compensate or I actually need to turn those lights off. So I had some disasters here. This one here, if you remember, I never finished. It was too much of a disaster and I didn't actually want to carry on. So then I did my little teacup one, which I quite liked the actual teacup itself, but I didn't like the background, so I'm still playing with that one. It may turn out, it may not go any further. My little studies that I've started, they're not great, but I think they will serve a great purpose as I move along. So I'm going to carry on and do those for a while. And my background experimentation for my next apple painting, I am not sure how that's going to go. I'm not liking it at the moment, but that's all right. I'll experiment a bit more in the future and see what I come up with. So it was just a bit of a rundown on what I've done and what I achieved and what worked and what didn't work. And I hope you've been painting too, and you can look back on what you've achieved and what worked and what didn't work, what you learnt and how you're going to move forward. So at the moment I'm going to go and move forward with my fruit paintings because I've had that idea in my head for a long time and I'd quite like to actually get it executed. So I'm going to carry on with my fruit paintings and then see where we go from there. So I hope you all had a great time painting and enjoyed doing this series with me. And I hope you'll like and subscribe for more painting videos in the future. I'll be doing some how-tos and just some progress reports on what I've been doing. So I hope you all have a great day. And I won't see you tomorrow, but I will see you soon. So bye everyone.